Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football bowl preview and prediction on the 2021 Alamo Bowl matchup between the Oregon Ducks and the Oklahoma Sooners. One of the most intriguing matchups of this 2021 bowl season. You got Oregon on one side coming off of a brutal loss to Utah in the Pac-12 title game. How will they respond coming into this matchup against an extremely talented Oklahoma football team? The Sooners, one of the most talented teams in the nation, yet they barely missed the Big 12 title game and the college football playoff. Should make for a great one here. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this bowl game here today. Starting out with your team trends. Oregon lost to Utah 10-38. Kind of a similar sight as to what we saw back in the later parts of November there in the regular season matchup, which was in Salt Lake there. But yeah, for Oregon, 10-3 heading into this matchup. Two of their losses are to Utah, blowout losses to Utah, which was, it was just a terrible game there to say the least for Oregon, and I'm sure all the players and the fans of this Oregon football team definitely want to forget how that Pac-12 title game turned out, because the Utes, coming in, Oregon can beat Utah. That goes without saying, but going into that matchup in the Pac-12 title game, Oregon just looked flat at the beginning of that game, and it makes me wonder whether, because there were some rumors going into that game that Mario Cristobal potentially was his last game coaching the Ducks, and I think that kind of got to the players there, but we'll see how they respond in this game. Totally different game and matchup going up against Oklahoma here, but Oregon nonetheless ranked 14th and 10-3 heading into this matchup. As for Oklahoma, lost to Oklahoma State in Bedlam 33-37. Oklahoma State was ranked number 7 at the time. Just a tough loss there against their rival for the Sooners. So both teams coming off of brutal losses coming into this matchup. Oklahoma is 10-2. The Sooners looked like a major college football playoff contender, of course, heading into November, but they lost to Baylor and lost to Oklahoma State in the month of November, which kind of took their chances away. It'll be on Wednesday, December 29th, San Antonio, Texas, and your kickoff time is 8:15 p.m. Central Time. Spread's going with Oklahoma here by 4.5 points, so Sooners are slightly favored in the spread, over under 61, so a moderate to a higher scoring game is also expected, and your FPI is going more heavily on the Sooners side here, 70.7% going towards Oklahoma in this game. Series history, Oklahoma leads at 6-1. Last game was in 2006, so just about 15 years was the last time we saw Oregon play Oklahoma. Oregon won that last game in 2006, but Oklahoma leads the overall series 6-1. Here's your stat comparison for this one here. We got Oregon, 31 points per game, 25 points allowed, 214 passers a game, 203 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, you got 241 passing and 129 for rushing. So overall, offensively for Oregon, a pretty balanced offense for the most part. Rushing game especially has been good this season. Travis Dye leading that rushing core in the backfield with 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. Looks like he's going to stay with the Ducks heading into this offseason, which is great news for this Ducks offense and the backfield in general. Travis Dye, though, he's played excellent this football season. Definitely a key impact player in this matchup. But as for Oklahoma, very high-powered offense. Their defense is okay, but their offense especially is what's really been a standout. If you look at their stats here, the stats here for the most part, defensively, these two football teams' stats are almost identical in just about every area. 25 points allowed per game for both teams, and for yardage, it's just about the same. But offensively, Oklahoma does have an edge pretty significantly. 7 more points per game they are averaging. Plus, Caleb Williams is, I would say, a better quarterback than Anthony Brown, although Brown has had a good season. But Caleb Williams, he has shown a lot of promise, and he's played pretty well at 1,600 yards on the season that he's played. Once again, he has not started the entire season. 18 touchdowns, 4 picks as well. So, he's had a good season. And Kennedy Brooks, don't forget about him. He's got very similar stats as well to Travis Dye. 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns is what Kennedy Brooks has on the season. So, both teams have got a lot of similarities here, but Oklahoma definitely does have the edge if you're looking at stats here, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Some recent matchups, Oregon lost to Utah twice. Lost 10-38 and 7-38. Those scores are awfully similar as well, which is kind of interesting there. But Oregon did beat Oregon State 38-29, beat Washington State 38-24, and also beat Washington on the road in Seattle 26-16. As for Oklahoma, lost to Oklahoma State 33-37, beat Iowa State 20-21, lost to Baylor 14-27. So those two losses there, that's what took them out of the conversation for the college football playoff. Beat Texas Tech 52-21, beat Kansas 35-23. There were a lot of question marks though about Oklahoma over the course of the season, especially September, October. This team they were winning their games, but by pretty close margins, and so that led to a lot of question marks as to whether this team was for real or not. But I mean, those arguments I feel like have been false all season. This Oklahoma team is extremely talented offensively. I mean, their capacity and their ceiling is very high. Here's some key points for this one. Oregon 10-3. Mario Cristobal, of course, is taken off for Miami. So how will this team respond is a big question here, because, I mean, those rumors were circling before Oregon played Utah in that Pac-12 title game. And I think that's a big reason why the Ducks were flat in that game for such a long time, was because of those rumors. And so with him now being gone, with that being set in stone, how is this team going to react? How are they going to show up? And that's going to be a big question mark. Honestly, I mean, if you're looking at it statistically and physically, I feel like Oklahoma is the favorite in this matchup. But if Oregon shows up with a good mentality, I mean, Oregon could definitely win this game. They are very much capable of doing so. But if they show up flat like they did against Utah, I mean, Oklahoma's going to run all over this football team. So definitely something interesting to mention there. I mean, they've been blown out to Utah twice. How will this team respond? Oklahoma, tough end of the regular season. I mean, both teams have had tough endings to the regular season in different ways. But for Oklahoma, big game for Caleb Williams. He's got a chance to prove himself and show that he's really the primary quarterback for this football team. So that's definitely something that is on the line for him. And I mean, offensively, if you look at all the talent of this football team, Kennedy Brooks, Mims, Caleb Williams, I mean, they've been brutal to stop over the course of the season. So for Baylor, when Baylor, for example, held Oklahoma to 14 points, I mean, that was insane, because, I mean, yeah, Oklahoma over the course of the season was averaging like 38 points, so, and is right now. So, yeah, OU, very good football team offensively. Defensively, they're also, I mean, they're good, but offensively is really where this football team shines. But that said, let's get to the prediction here for Oregon and Oklahoma. Alamo Bowl, I'm going to go with the Sooners here, 34-28. Is my predicted final score. Both teams are very capable of winning this game, but I just feel like Oklahoma in the end, they've got the upper hand. They got the better offense. Caleb Williams, I feel like, is going to have an excellent game here, and he's going to help this team get to the win and beat Oregon in the Alamo Bowl. Once again, though, both teams very capable of winning this game. It's going to be very close all the way through. That's going to make for an excellent game, and I feel like Oregon, I mean, once again, a huge question here is going to be, how is this team going to respond? I mean, you got a football team that doesn't have their head coach they've had all season now with Mario Cristobal. He is now in Miami. So how is this team going to respond? I mean, I feel like they're going to be motivated, and I definitely think that they're not going to get blown out in this game. I would be extremely surprised, and I feel like there's a massive problem with this football team if they do get blown out, but I just don't see that happening. I think they're going to be motivated, but in the end, Sooners are too much. They're too good of a football team, and they get the win here, but it's going to be close, 34-28. But yeah, probability 55% towards Oklahoma, so I'd expect it to be a close one for sure. Over under 61. I'm going to take the over just slightly, and the Sooners to cover as well. But let me know your thoughts and comments below on this game. I appreciate you guys all watching. As always, stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you later.